Hi guys, Advance is here again. Today I want to share with you my Rain of Arrows build from Incursion League. As far as you know, GGG reworked this skill in 3.3 and now it looks much better than old version. Skill area of effect was significantly increased and single target DPS became good enough to kill Shaper and Red Elder. But anyway, Barrage with full boost still does more damage. Based on the mechanics of the skill, I decided to abandon the point blank and choose far shot. Point blank can work with Roar, but not as well as with Barrage, because some projectiles are flying farther and some closer, so bonus from point blank is not consistent. Also, knockback from critical strikes makes it even worse against usual map bosses. Farshot doesn't have these problems. I knock back bosses out of screen and they die, therefore it is pretty safe for hardcore. As for my gear, I have made my build around the cold damage stacking from shaped bow with 3-5 added cold damage per 10 dexterity and unique quiver Harry's Demise. I have near 500 dexterity, so that mod on the bow gives me near 200 flat cold damage. If we multiply this damage by bow attack speed, we get near 300 pure cold DPS bow. And on top of this we have good base crit chance and other bonuses. This bow is pretty good. I was lucky to get mod with 20% chance to deal double damage, but for the beginning you need a bow with 3-5 cold damage per 10 dexterity, crit chance and attack speed. This is the base. Also I recommend to use Spine Bow, because it has the most balanced rates of attack speed and crit chance. Maybe for softcore variant Thicket Bow will be better, because we can drop Chaos Heart and use some Elder Armor with a crit chance bonus. Okay, next goes Starkonia's Head. It has good life, dexterity and attack speed bonuses. Maybe you can try to use Devota's Devotion, but for hardcore I recommend to use Starkonia. Amulet is with crit multiplier, elemental damage and some stats. By the way, dexterity is also good stat here, it gives flat cold damage because of the bow and quiver. Body armor, as I said before, is Chaos Heart. For hardcore it is the best choice. If you are playing on softcore you can try to use Lore Weave. It gives nice damage bonus and 80% elemental resistances, which are very useful at the temple and maps with minus max resistances mod. As for rings, you need elemental damage, resistances and maybe some cold damage. Glow's Tomb Fist with 2 abyssal sockets, and it would be great if it will be corrupted with crit chance for attacks. Belt is also with abyssal socket, elemental damage, resistances and maybe some mod for flasks. I prefer increased flask duration. And default rare boots with movement speed and resistances. I use Life Flask with remove bleeding, Aziri Promise for some leech DPS and chaos resistance, Silver Flask with Curse immune, Diamond Flask with Freeze immune and Quicksilver Flask. I have used 5 abyssal jewels with life, flat cold damage and attack speed and maybe some crit multiplier. Attack speed mod gives much more DPS than flat cold damage for this build, so try to look for it in priority. I also used 2 unique jewels. Watcher's Eye with crit chance while affected by hatred and Lion's Fall in socket near acrobatics. For single target I use Rain of Arrows, elemental damage with attacks, elemental focus, concentrated effect, added cold damage and cold penetration. While Rain of Arrows works pretty good with this gem setup and deals literally 50% of our total DPS, so you must use Valroa for this build, it's really awesome. For mapping you can switch concentrated effect and elemental focus with increased critical strikes chance, increased critical damage or increased area of effect, depends on your tree and gear. In glows I use Hatred and Herald of Ice. In Helm, Curse and Hit, Projectile Weakness, Frost Bomb and Increased Duration. In boots Frenzy, Lightning Golem, Blink Arrow and Blood Rage. Also for mapping you can make some changes and use Herald of Ice with Curse and Hit and Assassin Mark. If you have some better ideas, write it in comments to this video, because I am still not happy with my gem setup. This is a final setup for this build. It can be a little bit expensive, so for leveling you can use another one. If you can't afford Watcher's Eye with Hatred mod, you can drop it and play with Purity of Elements. With Purity it is much cheaper to find the necessary gear for mapping. But in this setup you can't switch increased critical strikes chance gem, so DPS will be slightly lower. Anyway, for all maps till tier 16 you will have more than enough damage for comfortable game. As for enchantments in Helmet, if you need more damage against bosses, choose 15% chance for additional sequence of arrows. If you need more clear speed, choose increased attack speed. As for enchantments in boots, you also have choice. Elemental resistances penetration for boss fights or increased attack or movement speed for better clear speed. Deadeye Ascendancy is obviously the best choice for this build. First of all, you should go for Far Shot, then for Endless Munitions. Right now I have switched to Rupture to maximize my DPS against Shaper and Elder, but for leveling Endless Munitions is a very good node. Then Gathering Winds and the last one Fast and Deadly. 3 is pretty common for most bow builds. It is very flexible, so you can add more life or more damage, depends on your needs. As for bandits, you should help Alira. As for Pantheon, it is up to you, choose whatever you like. Okay, that's all. Good luck, stay safe exiles, and don't play video games too much, especially in summer.